Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. A couple of weeks ago, I filmed a video about 25 manga and comics that I want to read in 2025. You seem to really like that, and a lot of you gave me some other great manga recommendations in the comments. I'll link that video if you're interested in watching down in the description. But it kind of inspired me to do a fun little 48-hour challenge. I have a spinner wheel here in front of me. I'll show you it in just a moment, but I have 15 manga entries on it, and starting today, which is Saturday at noon, I'm going to read my first pick, and we're going to do this until Monday at noon, and we're just gonna see how many of these I can read. It's not quite noon while I'm filming this right now, but I thought it would be a good idea to film this intro, tell you what's going on, say hello, and then go ahead and do our first spin so that I can kind of chill, do my breakfast, relax, and then as soon as noon hits, I can pick it up and get started. I don't think there's anything else I need to tell you. Let's just get into our first spin. Now, I do film on my phone, which means I cannot spin on my phone, so I have my laptop up here, and I'm just gonna hope that I don't often have to spin while I'm out of the house, and if I do, then we'll deal with that issue then. So here is my spinner wheel of my manga options. You can kind of get an idea of what's on the wheel, but I'm not going to go through them all because you'll probably see them pop up a lot. I'm going to remove the slice every time I spin it, so these options will get shorter and shorter, but let's go ahead and do our first spin. That is very exciting. If you didn't know, this is my favorite manga anime. Fruits Basket is also like my favorite anime, but this is like my nostalgic favorite anime and manga, so I will let you know what volume I'm on. I think I'm on volume 12, but I'll jump back in when it's actually noon in about half an hour and let you know where I'm at. I don't know if you can really see it, but it has officially hit noon. I'm not quite going to technically read yet, but the challenge has officially begun. I'm going to be strict on this challenge for the 48 hours, just because I don't really have a goal of how many to read. You know what I mean? I'm not stressed about the 48 hours, so we're going to do a strict 48 hours. I'm going to be starting first with Inuyasha, as you saw me spin, and this is by Rumiko Takahashi. And like I said, this is my favorite, series. I even have Inuyasha and Kagome tattooed on me. I'll try and insert a little picture here. I just love them. Like, I mentioned this in my other video, but if you had an OTP, like my one true pair, it's Inuyasha and Kagome. This is the bind up of 3 volumes in one. This is the 12th one that I'm on of this. And I do usually consider one whole book as one read because on my Goodreads, I use these editions specifically, so I will try and read this entire thing before I spin again, but that is technically like 3 different volumes. I obviously won't tell you much about this volume, but in a little while, once I'm a little bit further in, I'll jump in and just let you know a little more information about the series in general. But for now, I'm gonna go chill and start making my way through. It got really dark really fast. I don't know where the light just went. Hi, it is a little after 6:30 now, I think. I got a little lost in the sauce because we're planning a trip for Nick's birthday, and I just spent a lot of time planning that, and it took me a lot longer to get started reading than it would have normally, but I am almost done now. I have just this little bit left of volume 12 of Inuyasha. In a nutshell, this series follows a young woman named Kagome. She's about 16 when the series starts, and she falls into her family's ancestral well and wakes up in feudal Japan, where there are demons running amok, and she gets intertwined with Inuyasha, who is a half demon, and they basically have to roam the country searching for these Shikon jewel shards that they have kind of shattered accidentally by their combined forces. So it's really fun because their banter is just fantastic, and then they pick up a bunch of other characters along the way, and you get to know their personalities, and they all just interact in a way that's super funny. This volume in particular has really been a lot more vignette-y than the other ones I've read, where there's a lot of plot progression, but within that plot progression, we have like silly little side stories. I'd say I'm noticing them even more in this volume than previous volumes, so I'm having a great time with those, but it does have a little bit of a weird tempo in this collection of 3, where it's like, I don't know, it's a little jarring every time we're pulled out of the main story and into a side story. I'm just so obsessed with these characters that they're never gonna get a super low rating, but I don't think this is my... It's interesting because I usually love the little side stories, but these are almost like, I don't know, it's just weird how it's flowing, so I think it'll be a solid 4, and I'll be happy to continue the series and just have another one checked off my list, because again, this is 12. I think there's 18 altogether, so I am nearing the end of the series, which is exciting. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish this. It shouldn't take me longer than like another half hour to 40 minutes, so I'll finish this and then we will do our next spin. Okay, volume 12 of Inuyasha is complete. It's a 4-star. Let's go ahead and spin for my next book. I'm so excited. As you can see, the selection was Sailor Moon. This is volume 1 by Naoko Takeuchi. I have never interacted or engaged with any Sailor Moon content of any kind, so I have absolutely no idea what it's about other than it being such an absolute classic. So I'm really excited to just finally have a reason to get to this one. I don't know if this is a bind up of 1 or 2 volumes, but I'll let you know when I find out. Yeah, this is our second pick. First day. Pretty good. Good morning, friends. It is 9 a.m. on day 2, and do I have some work to catch up on? Yes. I still feel pretty confident, though. I mean, that Inuyasha volume is one of the biggest that's even on this list, so got out of the way early. I am this far into Sailor Moon, so not super far. Oh, I am obsessed. Like, this is so good. I can 100% see why it's the classic that it is. It just has such a distinct voice. We're following our main character Usagi, and she is a 14-year-old middle school girl, and she is really boisterous, and she basically gets roped into becoming a Sailor Moon guardian. I don't know what like the group name is called yet, but she is obviously Sailor Moon. There is a jewel thief that is running around, and she's getting roped into just a bigger plot mystery that's happening. I don't know much about that one obviously yet, but oh my god, her writing is so fun. I'm laughing so much. It breaks the wall and crafts a character that is just so incredibly rootable. So I'm having a wonderful time, and I just want to get back to reading it. So it is 5 p.m. I just completed book 2. It's 5 p.m., so we are well into our first 24 hours. It's going great. I will say again, I read 2 of the bigger bind-ups in a row, and I'm going to go ahead and give this a 5-star, but I do think reading that larger collection and then jumping into another collection was a little bit almost discouraging. Like, it just took me a lot longer than I would have expected, and some of it was getting repetitive because it's just, again, like so many different volumes in one bind up, but it was a good time. Totally see why this is such a classic. It even ends on a little bit of a cliffhanger where I'm like, give me more. So I definitely look forward to continuing this series. With that, though, it's time for spin number 3 now. Okay, here's my list again. Nausicaa. So as you can see, I spun for Nausicaa, and that is referring to Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind by Hayao Miyazaki. This was one that was recommended in that manga books I want to read by the end of the year. And I have absolutely no idea what it's about, but I do know it's more of a classic manga, and then I ordered it from the library, and this ginormous like coloring book is what came in. I look forward to getting to it though. It looks like a fantasy of some sort. It's obviously a monster. Ooh, it says, in a long ago war, humankind set off a devastating ecological disaster. So almost maybe like a sci-fi. I'm gonna go jump in, and I'll probably just check in when I finish this one now because it's so much smaller, but then I'll give you a little idea of what it's about and my thoughts on it. This was such a pleasant little surprise as well, just like Sailor Moon, but for different reasons. When I read this author, I was like, Miyazaki. I didn't realize it was Miyazaki. You know what I mean? So when I was looking at the author description in the back and realized that, like, this is Miyazaki, I was shook. And this little description on his writing of Nausicaa, like it just says on Nausicaa, and it's a preface about how he kind of developed an interest in the character and how he was, you know, encouraged to write a manga or write the comic. And I'm just like, he's just such a legend. He's such a goofy guy, and I love him so much. This was a really interesting story following our main character Nausicaa, who is the only daughter of one of the last civilizations in this destroyed world after this ecological disaster. She's going home one day because there's kind of a mix of technology that's still around that is like post-industrial era almost, where it's just like how they're keeping little bits of machinery running even if they don't quite understand how to create it now. And she's on her way home in her little plane thing, and they run into a group of refugees that are escaping their civilization, and they are essentially attacked by a variety of creatures that are thriving in this world. The entire refugee ship falls, and our main character is given an item, and this princess is essentially saying, you know, keep this, people are after this item, and I need you to give it back to my brother. So I'm not going to say what else happens, but then it kind of thrusts us into a couple different conflicts that seem to be going on in this larger world. But there are these areas that are too destroyed to cross over. They're basically called, like it says here, a sea of corruption. It's an enormous toxic forest with mutant insects and a miasma. It's just this really, really unique world of devastation and regrowth. Nausicaa is exhibiting these magical abilities to communicate with these creatures in a really unique way, and I thought it was great. I think I'm going to go ahead and give it a pretty solid 3.5. I will certainly continue this series. I just feel like this first volume was a lot of action, and I'm not much of an action girl. I like more slice of life or, you know, the other storyline plot progressions more than like a lot of pages of plane fighting. I will say though, Miyazaki's artwork is just so uniquely distinct, especially his character work and his, you know, even his like creature characters are just so well designed. So that was just such, it was such a treat to be picking up a Miyazaki piece of work and not even know that I was doing that. So it was a great time. I do think that I could see why what he was maybe picturing of this comic is going to do better in a animated film or an animated movie, because it's just like, it's so dynamic what's going on. And with his talent for like, I don't know, just overlapping colors, and it's just, I think it would be beautiful on screen. So I look forward to watching it. But that is book 3 done. I loved it. Thank you to whoever recommended this to me, because it was awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and actually spin again now. Okay, we have spin number 4. So After the Rain refers to After the Rain Volume 1. This is by Jun Mayuzuki. I picked this up one day at a Books A Million while there was like one of their manga sales. And I'd never heard of it, but it looks like it's a taboo age gap romance about two characters that are on huge precipices of change in their life, like different turning points. One is kind of crossing over from adolescence. Meanwhile, the older guy, who I think is the boss as well, he's essentially on his own journey of change. And the reviews seem mixed, but leaning pretty good. Like, even though it's a pretty big age gap, people say it's like discusses a little bit how their relationship is doomed from the start, but I have no like opinion on that yet. I obviously haven't picked it up, but I'm looking forward to giving it a shot. Again, I'm always looking for more slice of life or romancy, less fantasy action mangas, so I will check back in probably when I finish. It doesn't look like there's a crazy ton of words on each page, so probably won't take me that crazy long. It is 7:18 if you were wondering, so I still have a good over 12 hours on this challenge, and I'm feeling positive because I'm literally getting like a lot of the thick ones out of the way early, and then the rest are going to be like really small. So I'm going to go jump in. Good morning, friends. It is now Monday morning. It is 8 a.m. So I still have a couple of hours in this challenge. I might have been able to stay up and read more yesterday, but I actually needed to read some like traditional novels for work. So I was flying through some of that, but I still have a couple hours. I think I could still get at least maybe 2 more manga in. I did end up finishing After the Rain, and I really, really loved this. I'm going to go ahead and give it a 4-star, and I definitely want to continue the series. There's this really interesting atmosphere of like melancholy throughout. So this follows the main character, Akira, and she is 17, and she was a track star before she got a pretty serious injury that means she couldn't run anymore. And she works at a small family restaurant, which is owned by Kondo, which is the older man that she has a crush on, or at least he's the manager of it. I don't think he owns it, but he's the manager. It just had that really, like I said, interesting sense of melancholy. It says back here, there's a review that says, it takes a prickly premise and gives us a story about 2 people with broken dreams that might just be mendable, and I think that that's really accurate. I don't know, I liked that there didn't seem to be a glorification of their relationship, like, at least in the first volume, no spoilers, but like nothing super crazy happens. But it's just like you're seeing, while it's such a crazy experience from the outside looking in, you see like how she maybe got to that point of her feelings and how she's interacting with him. It was just really surprisingly well done, and I really liked it. So I look forward to seeing how their relationship develops, even not romantically. I don't know, even if it's platonic. I'm just intrigued to see where these characters go next. So I'm going to give this a 4-star, and I'm going to go ahead and spin my next spin. As you can see, I spun for Frieren. This is by Kanihito Yamada, and I'm excited to get to it. This is one that Gavin's been reading from Gavin Reads It All, and I heard about it when he was describing it. It basically is following a mage named Frieren who has done like her adventuring and her questing, and now the quest is over, and she ages differently from her friends that she was traveling with. And so she goes, like, you know, years later, she goes to attend the funeral of one of those friends. And I think it's kind of just her reflecting on, like, what do you do once the quest is over? I like this title saying Beyond Journey's End. I really look forward to getting to this. So I'm gonna crack it open right now. So I just went ahead and busted through Frieren, and I really liked it. It was a really interesting perspective on kind of the adventure quest D&D party situation, fantasy party. I don't usually love the whole gang going to fight monsters. So this being moments of that, but more of a reflection on it, was really, really interesting. I just don't really know how you would keep that gimmick interesting for volumes and volumes of manga. I am happy I read this, and I'm happy I own the first one, but I do think if I interact with the story any further, I'm going to do the anime, mostly because even one of my good friends said that he highly prefers the anime over the manga. He said the pacing in the anime is a lot better, and I definitely, like, obviously I've only read the first one, but I could see that because this one was a little bit quick and a little choppy. But again, I liked like the experience and the messages of reflecting and, you know, not taking relationships for granted. I look forward to continuing the show, but I'm going to go ahead and give this about a 3, maybe a 3.5. But that means it's time to spin again. Okay, let's see what we get this spin. Ooh. I've relocated to my bedroom now because that's where this book was, but I'm going to be picking up Spy Family. This is by Tatsuya Endo, and I'm really excited because I bought this a while ago because it was really, really popular on BookTube, and I kind of skipped ahead and watched the anime one night just because it was the only thing on my streaming service at the moment that I wanted to watch. I was really confused. It was really, really choppy in a way that was quite difficult to follow. And what I was like excited about from that experience was to read it because I was wondering if I'd be able to follow it a little bit more. This story follows our main character. I believe his name is Twilight. He's a spy, and he's essentially told that he needs to get a child and a woman to pretend to be his family. So he goes off, and I don't know if he's gonna hire them or what, but he adopts a daughter and then encounters another character. Little does he know so he's a spy trying to play a normal dad, and his partner is also actually an assassin, so she's trying to not let him know she's an assassin. He doesn't want them to know he's a spy. Meanwhile, the little girl is a telepath and knows everything that's going on, but they're trying to keep it all from each other. I think it's going to be really funny and entertaining. It's giving We're the Miller vibes. I will just check back in when I finish. It's another short one, so I'll be back and let you know if I understood more or less this time around. I fell asleep. Well, I didn't expect to fall asleep for like 2 hours. How many of you thought I would when I said I was laying down? Did you think that was going to happen? You were right. It is 11:52, so I only have 8 more minutes left in this challenge, and I did at least finish Spy Family just now, and I was correct. I did definitely prefer this over the anime. I thought the pacing was a lot more entertaining, and a lot of this book is them in their own heads, and so something about being able to create my own narrative of like line delivery and, you know, just give them their own voices in my brain worked a lot better. So I think if I do continue this series, it will be with the physical manga. It's really interesting though, because 2 in a row then, I've had one that I realized I'd rather watch the anime, and then one that I realized I'd rather read the manga. Usually I don't have like such a solid thought on that, so it's kind of nice that this experience helped me gain a vibe of both series. Overall, in the 48 hours, I only managed to read 6 of my 15 options. I could have done better. I really could have. I had some other things, like I said, that I had to read for work, but most honestly, I just wasn't really picking up books. And it's not even because I was busy. I was almost like doing nothing and enjoying doing nothing. So those are at least my thoughts on those 6. Let me know if you've read any of those or if you saw any other titles on my wheel that you think I should try to get to next time. Maybe I'll call this like the failed version, and then maybe I'll try and put 6 new titles up and do a like actual successful version, but that's for later. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this vlog up. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe if you want to see me try and not fail next time. I will see you on Friday with my next video. Bye!